Welcome to the 5 Secrets to Viral Marketing for Podcasters. I'm a podcaster, you're probably a podcaster. Let's learn how to get more reach, more listeners, more impact through viral marketing. Higher Google rankings, more social media reach, and all sorts of other marketing benefits. So I'm Stephan Spencer. I'm an SEO expert. I know a lot about Google and search engine optimization. You don't need to hear all about me or my books. Yeah, I've got this huge tome that's 1,000 pages called The Art of SEO that I co-authored, Google Power Search, social e-commerce, blah, blah, blah. Well, let's dig in. Oh yeah, and I have 2 podcasts that you should listen to, Marketing Speak and The Optimized Geek. Okay, and a commercial. Now, we got 5 secrets to becoming a viral marketer. Why do you care about viral marketing? Because if you just pay to play, that's going to be a lot of money. If you don't pay to play, if you're not, let's say, doing Facebook advertising and you're just purely relying on organic reach through Facebook, you're going to have a lot of pain because it's in the single-digit percentages of the reach that you get of your audience when you rely solely on organic for Facebook. Now, Google, on the other hand, can drive a ton of organic visits to your podcast website, but you need to get some things right. And one of the most important is you need links, amazing, powerful, authoritative, trusted links. How do you get these? By having stuff go viral, or at least just get really great reach organically through social channels and so forth. Get in front of the linkerati, those folks who have a lot of link authority in the eyes of Google, right? The linkerati are your intended target audience. When they link to you, your website is going to float up to the top of Google. Let me share a little case study with you. One of my daughters, my oldest daughter, started doing SEO when she was 14 years old. Yep, if a kid can do it, you can do it. She got to the top of Google with a website about Neopets, the virtual pet site owned by Nickelodeon, the TV network. Well, she was able to leverage all her knowledge and expertise about this Neopets phenomenon that was really popular back in the day. And she just crushed it in terms of her SEO. She had great content. She got in the media. She got great links. She ended up speaking at conferences like BlogHer. That was her first speaking gig at 16 years old, talking about her early success with her blog that was monetized with Google AdSense. She was making up to $1,000, sometimes $1,100 in a month, passive income. There were months where she didn't even blog. So if a child can do this, you can do this. Okay, here are the 5 secrets, starting with secret number 1, being remarkable. Now, when I say be remarkable, I'm using Seth Godin's definition of remarkable, worth remarking about. If it's worth remarking about, then it has the potential to go viral. It doesn't have to be the most interesting, the most useful, the most humorous thing out there, just something worth remarking about. Also known as a purple cow. That's the name of one of his amazing books, right? The Purple Cow. Another thing is you got to add massive value. Now, you're already used to doing this. You're a podcaster. So you're doing this as probably a labor of love. It's not like this big money thing. It's something that you are passionate about and you want to give back. So that's awesome. You got to keep that up with all the content that you create that is for viral marketing. And all sorts of different formats exist. Your podcast, sorry to say, is not viral content. It just isn't. We have to create something that's packaged to go viral. It might be a viral video. It might be an infographic. It might be a personality test or a quiz. There are lots of different formats. We'll talk about those in a few minutes. But you got to be remarkable and you got to add massive value. Another thing is you need hooks. Right? If you want to get on TV, you can't just say, hey, I'm writing a book and it's going to be really interesting. You should have me on TV. That's not compelling. What makes it compelling to a TV producer is if you have hooks, like a timely hook. Maybe you're in the middle of a book launch. Or maybe there's a big event going on and it's just perfectly appropriate to your topic. It needs to have a local hook. If you're trying to get on local TV and you're talking about something that's happening, let's say in, I don't know, Los Angeles, and you're talking to a TV producer in Phoenix, yeah, that's not a good fit. So local hook, and then emotional hook, right? So maybe you can incorporate a dog that is adoptable into your TV segment. That's great TV. That's great entertainment. If not a dog, maybe some sort of props that make it much more interesting. So these kinds of hooks can really add value and create good TV. Now, let's say that we're trying to create a viral content piece for the web, whether it's for YouTube or it's for just sharing on Instagram and wherever else. We have to create something that has a hook to it. Another thing is the headline must be killer. Killer headlines are critical. Have you ever been to BuzzFeed.com? Can you believe that BuzzFeed has $1 billion plus valuation? That just blows my mind. How do they do it? In part by having viral content just all the time. All the time. Their staff writers are amazing at writing viral content, and it all starts with the headline. You know, David Ogilvy was he famously quoted as saying that he'd spend 80% of his time writing the headline of an ad, and the remaining 20% writing the rest of the ad, and it could be a full-page newspaper ad. David Ogilvy, the ad giant, the great advertising guru of the last century. So headlines are critical, but how do we do it right? So I'm going to show you a study that I think you'll find surprising, counterintuitive even, as far as what really grabs people in terms of a really critical, powerful, compelling headline. And let me give you a couple of examples that I actually found on BuzzFeed. Here's one: men try on Spanx for the very first time. Pretty good, right? It's very intriguing, counterintuitive, surprising. So there's something in that, a hook for sure, and it's compelling and uses the right words to draw the reader in. Another one that works is numbered lists. If you start with a number in particular, these are known as listicles, you know, lists with numbers, okay? So you have a listicle. You're already off to a great start because number-based headlines really perform. You'll find in this study I'll show you that is absolutely true. And then let me give you an example of a numbered list headline, again from BuzzFeed: 22 fly items for the bird lover in your life. Now that's for an e-commerce site that sells bird items like birding gear and so forth. Sounds pretty compelling. Maybe not super viral, but definitely way more compelling than just the typical e-commerce blog post. And then remember, you are writing this content for the influencers, the linkerati, the people who have the authority, the trust, the importance in the eyes of Google. If you write for your customer base, your listener base, your normal blog readers, you've missed it. You've completely blown it. Because the influencers, specifically the linkerati, are the ones that hold all of the cards as far as Google's concerned. You know, you could get a link from Jim Bob and Jim Bob's personal blog. He could write a really nice blog post about you and your podcast, and it's just not going to move the needle for you. Why? Because Jim Bob doesn't have a lot of authority in the eyes of Google. Whereas, I don't know, CNN.com linking to you, way more effective and impactful. But it's not just CNN and USA Today and the big news outlets that have the authority. It's also other bloggers that you probably have never heard of. And on a topic-by-topic basis, you can identify them and present them with remarkable content, not just your episodes, but stuff that's packaged specifically for sharing, easy to consume. It's not a daunting 30-minute episode I have to listen to. Who's going to do that? It's something that's packaged for fast and easy consumption, and it makes them look better by sharing it. And so it just spreads virally and gets in front of a lot of the linkerati who then will blog about you and link to you, and that's where all the SEO magic happens. Because the social links don't add to any value in terms of your SEO. They're just a means to an end to get in front of the linkerati so that the linkerati link to you. A link from Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, any of those sites, even Wikipedia, Flickr, none of them pass PageRank or link authority. So that means you're not getting any credit. Those are not treated as votes by Google, but a blogger who has a lot of authority linking to you from their blog post, very powerful. If it's the right kind of link and blogger, and there's some attributes here that need to be taken into account. So secret number 1 is be remarkable, so that those linkerati just can't resist. They have to share your amazing stuff, and they're going to hopefully share it on their blogs where Google pays attention. Okay, so I promised to show you a study that I found really compelling. One of the facts here that it's maybe counterintuitive to you, but it bears out in the testing, that number-based headlines outperform anything else, including question-based headlines, which are actually the worst performers. If you're writing headlines for your blog posts or your episodes as questions, you just blew it, because according to this Conductor study that was written up on Moz.com, they just don't perform. The number-based headlines, best performers. Next are the reader addressing headlines. So 36% for number-based, 21% for reader addressing, meaning you or you're in the headline, 17% for the how-to based headlines, 15% for normal headlines, and like I said, the worst performers, question-based headlines, 11%. Okay, so let me show you a few remarkable content pieces just to kind of get your creative juices going. You might think, well, I don't have a podcast about pets, so what would be the benefit of having a cute animal viral content piece? Well, it's great when you get relevant links in your topic, for sure. That's the best kind of link. But an important link from a site that, maybe you have Cute Puppy Monday or something, and it just goes viral, right? It really performs well in terms of generating high quality links. They're not topically relevant, really, but it just shows that you are on the map as far as Google's concerned. So don't discard those ideas that are off topic or just tangentially related or not related at all. Just, like I said, creative juices, just get those going and think outside the box. So here's one that is really outside the box. They took their little hamster and they made some little burritos, and they filmed that hamster eating a tiny burrito. They actually filmed them making the burritos too, and so forth. This is a whole series. Look at that, 8 million views on tiny hamsters eating tiny burritos. So that's a great, crazy example. Here's a long-term client of mine, Steve Spangler, who has won 3 Emmys. He's been on the Ellen Show like over 24 times. He created the Diet Coke Mentos experiment that went viral all over YouTube. Here he is with one of his lower performing videos. He's actually got over 200 million views on YouTube. This one, almost 4 million views on this one, and he does a science experiment every week on Denver 9 News. This one got posted to his channel, Sick Science. He's got multiple YouTube channels. He knows how to create compelling video content. He's amazing at it. So, yeah. In fact, one of my episodes on Marketing Speak, I interview Steve Spangler, and he shares some of his secrets to success. Definitely a must-listen episode. Now, secret number 2, remember secret number 1 was being remarkable. Secret number 2 is using viral hooks. And I kind of teased you with this already. See, that was kind of a hook, wasn't it? Right? I was seeding that, and now I'm delivering on it. So let me give you what the different viral hooks are. There are others beyond these, but these are the biggest ones, I think. There's the utility hook. Let me give you a quick example of a utility hook. Back in the day when SEO plugins were It was a more of a blue ocean market for those kinds of plugins back in like 2006, 2007. I wrote an SEO plugin called SEO Title Tag. Nowadays, Yoast pretty much owns the market as far as SEO plugins, but for WordPress, it was a really cool plugin for the time. It still is a really nice plugin. There's features in there that are not in the Yoast plugin that you get for free. So it's a great free plugin. Well, this ended up being the best link building campaign that my previous agency that I had founded and eventually sold, Net Concepts, had ever done. Creating this WordPress plugin that was of high value and totally free got us a ton of links and helped us dominate in Google for a ton of different keywords, and it was just a really high performing campaign for us. And it started with us adding value and creating something that was of high utility. So there you go. There's a utility hook example. A scoop. Provide some sort of expose or scoop. Don't just blast your press releases out to journalists because they hate that stuff. Create something that's of high value for that journalist, that blogger. Make it a scoop. Make it an exclusive and partner with them. Another thing is to expose a story as flawed or to just kind of deconstruct some flawed whatever it is study, like maybe an environmental study, or it's an analysis of something that kind of went wrong. Like, for example, I just read about this study on JavaScript and SEO, looking at different frameworks and how search engine unfriendly, ironically, the Angular JavaScript framework is, developed by Google, in comparison to some of the other JavaScript frameworks. You see that when you pick up on something that's already trending, or that, basically you're newsjacking, in other words, you find something that you can ride on the coattails of and provide a contrarian position on, or expose that story as flawed. And that leads into my next viral hook, which is controversy. So if you are a contrarian, if you stir up controversy, then as you can see by the political climate, that can get you a lot of airtime. So another thing that works really well is a humor hook, like being funny, being tongue-in-cheek, maybe being risque or even crass. Right, so one of my clients is writing a piece right now on not safe for work welcome mats. Clever, right? I actually came up with the idea, so that hook is from me, and now they're creating the content around it, and I'm guiding that process for them and overseeing it, and it's a lot of fun. So all they do is they basically curate existing content out on the web, just go onto sites like Flickr and so forth, search for welcome mats, find the most outrageous ones, and compile that into a listicle blog post, include the photos as long as they have the rights to do that. So you have to check Creative Commons licensing and see if they're licensed that you can reuse them. And now you got a great blog post that has a humor hook to it. See how that works? Not too difficult. All right, let me give you a few more hooks. There's the research hook. You could either conduct research that is unique or just fund it, right? So commission that unique research. Another is to provide Creative Commons licensed content that people will want to reuse. Let's say you're at an amazing event, a conference or something, and the keynote speaker is pretty famous, and you get some great photos, you're in the front row. Well, you can Creative Commons license those photos with attribution, and then they need to attribute you as the creator of that image. They'll probably give you a link as that attribution, and now you're getting some great links which help your Google rankings. Free software, like the example I gave of the WordPress plugin, you could create browser extensions like Chrome extensions. Browser add-ons are great. And you could start a meme, or you could ride on the coattails of an existing meme. All right, so what are some popular trends that you've seen on the web? And just maybe take a moment, write down a few ideas and how you might capitalize on these, how you could ride on the coattails of that trend. Okay, so this is essentially newsjacking or viral trend jacking, because some things aren't really news, they're more like tiny hamsters eating tiny burritos, but you can ride on the coattails of that. All right, so let's say you're not the one who's doing the tiny hamsters eating tiny burritos, but you've got I don't know, a gerbil instead of a hamster, and you're really good at making tacos. Yeah, create a funny spoof or spin-off of that viral campaign. Okay, now that you've jotted down a few ideas, let's move on to secret number 3. Use viral content formats. So you got the remarkable content, you got the hook for it. Now let's talk about formats. And once you have some traction going with one viral content piece, you want to recycle that and repackage it, repurpose it in many different forms. And that's where these different viral content formats come into play. So let's say you start off with a listicle. Those aren't that hard to create. You just, like I said, find some interesting images or YouTube videos, embed those videos, or add the images as you're allowed based on licensing. Now you got some traction with that, and you see, okay, let's keep running with this. Now you maybe make an infographic on that same topic, or a viral video. And you might think, well, I don't have like professional video editing and videography skills. I'm a podcaster or audio, right? Audio is my game. Well, you know what you can do that's just dirt cheap is turn to a site like Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, pay $5 to have somebody in some remote part of the world take a video, like man on the street or woman on the street sort of video, asking about these sorts of topics. Like, let's say that, okay, so here's a client example. Zappos, a client of mine, they had this amazing Guinness World Record of most simultaneous high fives, but they didn't leverage it further than that. Real missed opportunity. I wasn't working with them at the time, and by the time I was, it had well passed its shelf life date. But imagine if they just got some traction on that and they realized, okay, let's ride on this. How about we take a different kind of tack on it and talk about hand gestures, different kinds of hand gestures, and what they mean in different parts of the world. Like, I don't know, for example, a thumbs up means up yours in certain parts of the world. Okay is not very nice in certain parts of the world. V for victory, yeah, you get the point, right? So they could ride on just kind of tangentially on the coattails of this simultaneous high fives Guinness World Record by creating viral videos, infographics, and so forth and so on about these different hand gestures, and get people's reactions, pay people on Fiverr to film the reactions and to narrate what these things mean in these different parts of the world. And the bad ones you just toss out. The good ones, the ones that have potential, like real potential, you incorporate into your compilation video. So you didn't have to fly all over the world and take video of people and man on the street interviews and so forth and see the reaction of these folks for these different hand gestures. No, you just pay just a bunch of people $5. Pretty cool, right? So being able to repurpose and repackage gives you so much additional leverage, and you can just get a lot more shelf life off of a really cool idea that seems to have traction. So infographics are great. Contests, also, I love contests because it's UGC, user-generated content. You are crowdsourcing amazing content, whether it's videos or it's, who knows, images. You can have image, like photo competitions, all sorts of different types of contests out there. Also apps, buyer's guides, how-tos, checklists, worksheets, all that sort of stuff that is kind of in a PDF format typically. Cheat sheets and so forth are awesome. Top 10 lists or listicles are, really high performers usually. Podcasts, of course, and then wikis and worksheets. Let me show you a few examples of some of these content formats. I really love this particular infographic. it just differentiates geeks versus nerds. You can see that, for example, geeks are Mac users and nerds are PC users. For you PC users, don't take offense. It's just true. So you'll get a lot of fun out of that particular infographic. I just told you about Zappos and the simultaneous high fives. Well, here's an infographic, not done by Zappos, but one that I found that's what these different hand gestures mean in different parts of the world. And yes, some can get you shot. And again, memes are great. Like the viral images, coming up with a powerful, funny caption to go with that meme is fantastic. Widgets, badges, and awards, like give people recognition for achieving something great with their website or their business or what have you. And then they'll proudly display that badge, that award on their website, linking to the award entry or the award kind of explanation on your website. See how that works? Now you get a link from that website, probably from their homepage. Good stuff. Personality tests and quizzes. I love these. Let me show you an example that went crazy viral back in the day. It's an oldie but goodie. How many 5-year-olds could you take in a fight? Turns out I could take on 15. One of the cinchers for me to get such a high number. I'm willing to pick up one and use them as a weapon against the others. Who would have thunk it? And then after you finish that quiz, take the next one. What would your body taste like to a cannibal? Spoiler alert, tastes like chicken. Okay, so you see that you can get really, really edgy like this, but you don't have to. If that's really too far off brand for you, you just can't get away with that, then that's cool. Just create something that adds value. All right. So secret number 4, viral videos. I love video, even though my podcasts are both audio only. I love video. It's just so much more powerful because in terms of creating fans, followers, and greater reach, there's just more opportunity. Like, for example, Facebook Live has to be on video. It's just not going to work. If you have a YouTube video with your audio podcast and it's just a still image of your episode art or your podcast art, it's not going to cut it. You're just not going to get much uptake on YouTube. So you have to have something that's in a viral video format in order to take advantage of those platforms of YouTube, which happens to be the number 2 search engine. Yep, more searches happen on YouTube than either Bing or Yahoo. So with that in mind, if you don't have YouTube videos, you don't have a YouTube channel, you are completely missing out on the number 2 search engine. You have zero visibility. You might say, well, I show up on YouTube because there's some videos that other people uploaded. Well, you're not benefiting from that. Those views, that social engagement, those engagement metrics don't count towards your channel. They count towards somebody else's channel. So you need to be on YouTube. Let me show you a few examples of some viral video campaigns that crushed it for different folks. Let's start with Will It Blend, which came out of, so George Wright was their VP of Marketing at Blendtec. Tom Dixon, as you see pictured here, the founder of Blendtec, would love to go into the testing room and jam 2x4s into these blenders to see if he could break them. Well, one day George is walking by the testing room and he sees this mess of sawdust everywhere and he's like, we should really film this. Yeah, of course. And thus the best viral marketing campaign, the best marketing campaign in Blendtec's very long history, like they've been around for a very long time, many, many years, this completely transformed their business. This campaign, Will It Blend? They've blended, as you can see, Chuck Norris action figures, iPods, and then iPhones, and then iPads, and then Apple Watches. They've blended everything, you name it, Ray candles, golf clubs, marbles, light bulbs, etc., etc. So with just a meager couple $100 budget to start, they already had the video equipment and they just bought some supplies, and they started filming and posting it to YouTube, and the rest is history. Now, a key distinction here that you need to know is this is a screenshot of their microsite, willitblend.com. They did this so that people like journalists and bloggers would link to a site that they own instead of just linking to YouTube, because those links aren't going to help anybody but Google. YouTube is owned by Google, right? So they're helping YouTube out, but YouTube doesn't need the help. So, hey, link to me instead. Yeah, it's fine if you also link to my YouTube videos or my YouTube channel, but hey, link to my site. And by creating a separate microsite that was all about their videos, it provided a great destination for those journalists and bloggers to link to. Now, it's important to have tools to help you with all this viral video marketing. So one of the tools I love is Voot. And the best part about this tool is it's free. You do have to get in as a beta user. And so there's a process there. Now, I can hook you up, I'm pretty sure. No guarantees. I don't know what the response rate is going to be here from this particular training I'm doing. But if you send my assistant an email, I will try to hook you up. I'm pretty sure I will be able to hook you up with a free account. So imagine being able to track all the different engagement metrics for your various videos. There are a lot of them. There's, like, for example, favoriting and likes and dislikes, video replies, comments, views, watch time, lots of stuff. And having a tool that tracks a bunch of that for you is invaluable. And it can track your search rankings in YouTube, the #2 search engine. And I don't know of very many tools that allow you to do that. You might be tracking your Google rankings with a tool, but does that tool track your YouTube rankings, your YouTube search engine rankings? Probably not. So this is this is at voot.net. App.voot.net is the direct link. But like I said, send my assistant an email. At the very end of this presentation, I will give you that email address, and you can send me an email or send her an email, and we'll see what we can do to hook you up. So what's a viral video that's left an impact on you? One that it was remarkable and memorable for you. Take a moment and just jot down an idea or two of these viral videos, and maybe you can create something that rides on the coattails of those viral videos. Maybe a spoof or kind of a extension of that viral video. All right, so you have something remarkable. Now what? Well, I don't know. Well, actually, I do. So let me tell you what you need to do. Secret number 5, engage a power user. Or, ideally, multiple power users. What's a power user? It's somebody with a lot of influence, a lot of authority, trust, and reach inside certain social platforms. For example, I have a power user on Reddit who works for me. She's in the Century Club, meaning for Reddit, there are 2 metrics that are really powerful and important for you. They're the 2 metrics for Reddit: link karma and comment karma. And as far as virality is concerned, link karma is that one metric that matters. If you have a high link karma score, which you can see over by your username on the top right, you can hit the front page potentially a lot. She's in the Century Club, meaning over 100,000 link karma points, so she can hit the front page all the time. In fact, I had her create an account from scratch for me. She already got it to 28,000 link karma points. Within 3 months, she hit the front page with that account 4 times. Yeah. Having somebody like that in your hip pocket, and not just for Reddit. Reddit is important. It's the front page of the internet. But also, what about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn? A lot of social platforms. So having power users is indispensable. It's incredible. It's like having rocket fuel. But the thing is you can't have something that's just not remarkable and hope that it's going to go viral just because you have a power user. In fact, if that power user is worth their salt, they're going to say no to anything that you give to them, even if you write them a nice big check that isn't remarkable, because they don't want to destroy their rapport that they have with their fans and followers by putting something not amazing in front of them. So this is a great way to seed remarkable content into social media so that you get the attention of the linkerati, who will then hopefully link to you. Make sure that that content is social media ready, that you've really backed off of the overt selling. Cross sells, upsells, down sells, all that sort of stuff is really off of the page. It's important, especially for Reddit, that you don't alienate them. They hate overt marketing. Timing's critical. Like if you try and do this at 2 a.m. on Saturday morning, not a good time. Whereas, if you time it well, it can really help with your virality. User shoutouts are the currency of virality, like on Reddit, for example, the upvotes, on Pinterest, the pins, and on Twitter, the retweets, Google +1s, etc. So you're aiming for that so that you get in front of a lot more people on that social platform. And remember, the end game is the links. Okay. So I wrote an article for Search Engine Land all about engaging a power user, kind of talks about my process. It's called the Social Media Underground. So check that out. Let me give you a few examples of some great campaigns that engage power users, that utilize those power users and were very successful in large part because of that. Now, Vanilla Ice is a great example from that viral video campaign, but how about this one? We just used a power user who happened to, well, actually it's a friend of mine who did this. He had a power user who got them a lot of likes on Facebook, so it was powerful on Facebook, and it was a great campaign. This particular blog post really funny, lots of crazy pictures of redneck, quote unquote, home remodels, different kinds of things, so check that out if you're curious. Here's an example that one of my clients had a lot of success with. You can see here 23,000 stumbles. Pretty darn good. What made that so successful in large part was because it went viral on StumbleUpon, and we got that to happen because I have a power user on StumbleUpon that I was able to tap. It doesn't have to be expensive. I think we spent like $750 on that, and my client, this is for Noomi.com, Noomii. They make their directory of business coaches, career coaches, life coaches. So this is very apropos to their audience. The Acts of Kindness Advent Calendar. It's a feel-good thing. It's cute and it's adorable. It's awesome. So this got a lot of traction, and the thing is if you don't have a power user and you just post something that's remarkable through your own social channels, you don't have a lot of reach. You post it to your blog and you hope that people just randomly come to your blog and see that's there. It's not going to happen. Remember from that movie, Build It and They Will Come? That doesn't happen. Here's another example. This one is a client example, overnightprints.com. The contest idea I came up with was Business Cards for Life. The Business Cards for Life contest, which was dirt cheap because 1,000 business cards a year for up to 20 years doesn't add up to a whole lot of cash, and they print their own business cards, so it was nothing practically. So this contest did amazingly well for my client. My power user was this guy, Jeremy Shoemaker, aka Shoe Money. He normally charges a lot of money to run contests on his blog. He didn't charge my client anything as a favor to me. So that was really cool. And Jeremy ended up getting a really great thing out of it. He was not that happy with his business card at the time. I knew that. He loved his logo. Look at that really cool logo with the $ Superman S logo thing. He didn't love his business card though. So I'm like, hey, let's do a contest. We'll create you the most killer business card ever. And as you can see, that's the winning entry, and he loves it. It's a really cool looking business card. So he was happy with it, but look what happened for my client. They went from nowhere for the term business cards to number 2. Boom. Amazing, right? Nowhere like sub page 5, like page 10 sort of placement in Google for business cards, and that's a high value, very competitive keyword. And look what happened just from that one campaign, that one contest. So power users can make all the difference. You might not know a power user that you can just pay $750 to per campaign to seed it into social media. So you can use a machine or technology to outreach to influencers on a per topic basis. And I write about this in another Search Engine Land article called Scaling and Systematizing Your Link Building. I describe how to build this machine, and one of the key components is to use a tool like Pitchbox, which is essentially like Salesforce.com, but for link outreach and for influencer outreach. So this thing is awesome. I'll love this tool. So it builds for you a prospect list of influencers based on keywords you enter. It will allow you to prioritize those websites that it identifies and the contacts within those websites that it also identifies. It will scrape those websites looking for email addresses and then allow you to put like webmaster at on the bottom of the list, the marketing person at the top of the list, etc. And then you have template libraries. You can essentially mail merge, like personalize these templates and send them out on a seemingly individual basis, all handled through this tool. So when the individual recipient receives it, it feels like it was handcrafted email and not sent out as an email blast. And it tracks the whole pipeline process or the workflow, creates outreach pipeline reports for you, just like Salesforce.com creates a prospect pipeline report. This is an influencer pipeline report. So really, really cool. Here's how you create a new campaign. That could be blogger outreach. You can even outreach to webmasters and ask them to remove links if they're considered toxic. Toxic links can actually hurt your Google rankings. Links that are from really bad neighborhoods, in other words. So great, great tool. So you're probably overwhelmed. So like, what do I do now? What's my next action? Well, stay tuned. I'm going to give you a couple of things here. So what can you do tomorrow? Just pick, let's say 3 things that you can do tomorrow, or I'll ease up on you a little bit. Next week. 3 things you can do next week to improve your marketing, your online marketing, by using some of these viral techniques. The headline writing, the incorporation of hooks, the repackaging into different viral formats, all this sort of stuff that we went over. How do you leverage this? Just pick 3 things. It's easy. So start with something small. You don't eat an elephant all at once. You eat it, I mean, this is a disturbing analogy because I'm vegetarian, but you don't eat an elephant all at once. You eat it a bite at a time. So we're going to tackle this a bite at a time. Okay, so just 3 things. And I'm going to give you some really cool things that will empower you to take the next step. I've got a tip sheet you can download on SEO tools. I've got a beta invite to Voot that I already promised you. I've got a how-to on getting higher YouTube rankings, and a content marketing chapter of The Art of SEO, which is all about how to get links by creating remarkable content. So all of that amazing stuff for free if you just email my assistant, admin@stefanspencer.com. As I think you can tell, I'm a giver. There is something, though, I'd like to ask as a small favor, and that is I have my 2 podcast shows, Marketing Speak and The Optimized Geek, which is actually not an SEO podcast. That is all about life hacking and biohacking and personal development. Could you please help me get the word out on these 2 awesome shows? I really do pour my heart out into both of them. I've had the most amazing guests on both, like Jay Abraham, Dan Kennedy, and so forth on Marketing Speak, and on The Optimized Geek, Dave Asprey, Byron Katie, amazing, amazing guests. So please, whatever you can do to encourage your friends and listeners and so forth to listen to my 2 shows, I'd be forever grateful. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at @SSpencer. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you at the next podcast movement or, maybe an SEO conference. Bye.